Morning, everybody. It's Tuesday. Tim's going to go over the sales numbers and how many days we got left for shipping. Morning, everybody. Sales as of today are $2,433,053. We have 4 days left and 18% of the month. So let's see if we can see what else we got going the last couple days. Usually the last day, I know we got a plaque release coming up and stuff. So
that's a big one.
That's the big one coming up. So we'll see where we're at that. So so far we're still doing well with sales. SYS, things that are hot, SYS 157, Jose, so did you start that back up with the extended cooling? Okay. We want to start that up and run some, because they're going to give us they're going through testing those two parts right now. Okay. Do we know when we're going to get SYS 164 back? If it doesn't start by the 31st, we won't have orders. Oh, okay. That's all I've got for that right now. Hey, a couple things that we got going on the big site for maintenance. We need to get 22 open. We need to be able to get that mold out of there. Jimmy, when they get that mold out of there, we need to get it in 21 and get it up and running. It's the same material, so it should be a piece of cake. Then we need to get fill 30 and press 7. Get that up and running. And then we need to get clap 5 up. Looks like you guys got clap already up and running, okay? So those are the hot jobs that I had going on. A couple of pictures for the floor. Press 3 obviously still leaking oil on the back side. There was a table just over there between 5 and 6. There's a bunch of cardboard, chipboard, spray, and old labels just sitting there. I know it's a little bit more difficult to see, but we're just putting the parts on the floor, which I know is just adding dirt to them, and I know they're getting contaminated, but if you look back here, you can see that there's a medium gray, so when we switched colors, we didn't even make sure that we ground up all the parts that were bad from the previous color, so now we have medium gray and black parts sitting on the floor over here, okay? 35 is leaking oil on the back side. Just wanted to make sure maintenance do that. We've talked about overproduction, and we have more than enough boxes over here for at least half the shift, if not longer, for that press to run. I would guess probably 3/4 of the shift. We've already made all the boxes on 4. Okay. Was that there from third shift, or is that first shift? That's over here by the silicone room, so I think those boxes are for press 21. Does anybody know if they were there from third shift? At least just blame the other shift. That's it? Not here? Okay. Alright. So, you know, and the reason why I took a picture of this one is because we're going to shut this press down as soon as we get the mold out of 22. Now we're going to have to break down these extra boxes that we made because we're not going to use them. Okay? We bought new wet vacuums for the floor because we had a couple that had gotten broken. Jimmy had asked for a 3rd location, but we bought the new vacuums and we just put them out on the floor. No labels, no nothing, so nobody knows what they are. We don't know if they're just for water, are they for oil, where do they belong, where do they go back to. So we have labels that we can just print out and cut on a label machine if somebody just asks for them. And I can show you how to do that, it's really easy. And so we don't know where they go or what they need to do, okay? So we're gonna buy something that we need on the floor. Before it goes out on the floor, we need to have a home for it, we need to label that home, and then we need to label the product where it goes back to, okay? I took this picture because of the store locations behind the 200 tons and the one that we had behind 64. I'm looking for suggestions from you guys on a new location for those 2 stores. Neither one of them are going to be able to stay where they were, especially the one over on the 200 ton row, because we need to be able to get material back there. So I'm looking for any suggestions from anybody on where we can put those locations that are going to be convenient for everybody to use, okay? Because behind 64, the cabinet and everything is kind of in the way for getting material back there. And we don't have the scales put back where they belong. They're just stuck behind 60, okay? So if anybody has any suggestions on an area or a spot we could move those store locations to. Now remember, there's a cabinet, a place for chairs, a place for tubs, and bins and stuff. So if anybody has any suggestions, I'm open to that, okay?
Alright, so we got a couple, just to show you progression of what we've got going on in the material mezzanine is there's pictures of how we're doing the hoses. You can see before the shelves. This is after we cleaned it, and then you can see how we're labeling the shelves. So you get a chance to take a look at how we're labeling the shelves and how all that's going. I think we made a lot of progress. Just to give you a little FYI, you know, when we're going through it, we're all talking about what is this stuff, and we have one of the individuals been here 20 years. I think Don's been here longer than I have, and he didn't know what some of this stuff was. So that just tells you how long we're holding on to stuff. And Don's been doing that for quite a while. So we've got a long way to go, but we're starting to make some strides. So when you get a chance, take a look what we got going up there. And it's the same thing as when you start asking why, you find out it's just because that's the way we've been doing it. And there's a lot of questions of why. I know a lot of stuff we're doing, okay? Also, the Kaizen, then for this one, we're going to do it at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. So we're going to do this material mezzanine again on Wednesday at 3 o'clock. So we can get the second shift and some of first shift involved more. Okay? All right. We've got a small section before we start the next chapter. All right, FastCap's general manager, John, had accompanied me on the second trip to Japan. We immediately began to plan and strategize. I now understood that we needed to take FastCap from the level of doing lean events to building a lean culture. How would we build a lean culture in Bellingham, Washington? How could we recreate what Hope's culture at FastCap? One of our goals was to actually look like Hope's within 1 year. We were light years from that goal, but we believed that with a new focus on building culture, anything was possible. This raises the next question and the topic of our next chapter. How does one build a lean culture? So we're going to start that then tomorrow, talking about that. So we have a video a little bit about what we have here and the two things that we're starting to work on and making improvements on. So